I just uncovered a Nasdaq company that raised $19 million just to hoard XRP. Now, even crazier is that they paid above market price to do it. So what do they know that we don't? So it caught me off guard, right? A legit public company throwing millions of dollars into XRP, and I had to find out why. Now, lately, XRP's price has been creeping back towards its previous all-time high, right? It's around $3, up almost 392% in the past year. But beyond the price chart, something big might actually be brewing. Now, this video is my personal journey down the XRP rabbit hole, from the jaw-dropping corporate buy-in, all the way to a new way to passively stack XRP with a bunch of old mobile devices on my desk. And by the end, you're going to see why this isn't just another hype cycle for XRP, but a story of real adoption unfolding right under our noses. So, the other night I'm scrolling through crypto news and bam, I see this headline about Vivo Power International. This is a renewable energy company raising $19 million for an XRP treasury, and yes, you heard that right. A solar energy B-Corp on Nasdaq basically said that we want more XRP, please. Now, they issued new shares at $6.05 each, which was above the stock's prior closing price, and investors still gobbled it up. In fact, the Saudi prince, right? Yes, the Saudi prince even led an earlier funding round for them. Talk about royal approval, right? Now, the day that they actually announced this, Vivo Power's stock jumped 14%. Just imagine, right? Wall Street traders bidding up a stock because it's buying into crypto. It's wild times. Naturally, I wanted to know what Vivo Power's plan was, and it turns out that they aren't just impulsively YOLOing into XRP. They actually do have a strategy. Now, earlier this year, they partnered with a platform called Doppler Finance to generate yield on their XRP holdings. Right, they're starting with a $30 million pilot program and might ramp it up to $200 million. They even coined the term regenerative loop. For it, basically, and any kind of XRP yield that they earn gets plowed right back into buying more XRP. It's kind of like an XRP snowball machine then, right? Earn XRP interest, use it to buy more XRP, and repeat. Right? They're essentially building an XRP stash on steroids in a completely legal way, of course. And get this, back in May of 2025, Vivo Power pivoted its entire financial strategy to center on XRP. Now, this isn't some side hustle for them. It's actually their core plan. Right? They want to bridge the worlds of renewable energy and blockchain finance, and they picked XRP as that bridge. Now, to make sure that they didn't screw it up, they even brought in heavy hitters from Ripple's world. Adam, who was used to run the SBI Ripple Asia, is now Vivo Power's board of advisory chairman, right? And we had Sunnet, this is the former head of investments at Ripple, also join as an advisor. So basically, they've got Ripple's, Illuminati, if you will, guiding their XRP game plan. And if that wasn't enough, Vivo Power also partnered with BitGo for custody and trading support. BitGo is providing them with the OTC trading desk and secure storage, meaning that Vivo Power's XRP will be under lock and key with one of the best in the biz. And all of that blew my mind. I mean, a year or two ago, who would have thought that a Nasdaq-listed sustainable energy firm would go all in on XRP? And this kind of feels like when MicroStrategy started hoarding Bitcoin in 2020. It was a bold, it was a risky move, and it signaled conviction, right? Now, Vivo Power might be the MicroStrategy of the XRP here, right? Being among the first public companies to commit serious treasury funds to XRP. And if they succeed, well, other companies could follow. And if that snowballs, well, the demand for XRP could go through the roof while the supply on the open market dwindles. Now, there's only so much XRP out there. After all, we've been through that in the last few videos. Now, let's talk about XRP's price action because, You know that we have to. Now, XRP recently flirted with the $3 mark, right? Not far from its kind of recorded high of $3.65 recently. It's up almost 400% on the year, or year on year, right? 5 green quarters in a row. It's been on an absolute tear since the legal win against the SEC. Who remembers that saga, right? Well, some analysts are getting pretty bold. One well-followed trader thinks that we could see $6 plus XRP by the end of the year. Others are dreaming even bigger, targets like $10 or even $20, which would mean $1 trillion plus market cap, mind you. We do know that market cap is just a result of price, and market cap cannot be a barrier to price discovery if the price dictates the market cap. Otherwise, you end up in all sorts of circular mathematical problems. Anyway, not everyone is drinking the Kool-Aid here, right? There's a few different analysts say that, hey, after such a run, maybe we're due a bit of a pullback. And honestly, both sides do have a case if you want to go into them. Crypto is a bit, at least does like to humble people when it looks a little bit too euphoric. But seeing a company bet its future on XRP gives a little bit more weight to the bullish side, doesn't it? Well, it certainly got me thinking. There's a stat floating around that only about 4 to 5% of XRP addresses actually hold 10,000 XRP or more. In other words, if you have 10,000 XRP, congrats, you are in the top tier of holders. 10,000 XRP at today's price is not an absurd amount of money either for a crypto investment, yet it puts you in a pretty exclusive club. And I'll admit, after learning what Vivo Power is doing, I kind of felt a surge of conviction there. So joining that club, yeah, I might be up there already. You never know, right? I'm not going to disclose my exact XRP holdings. But, there are people out there finally accumulating their kind of 10,000th XRP and making it into that 5% elite holders kind of club. Now, 10,000 XRP is just a number. It doesn't guarantee you anything, by the way, but it did feel and can feel, I guess, like a milestone on many people's XRP journeys. Like, okay, you're finally really a part of this now, but this might just shock you. But I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, that's the disclaimer done, we had to do it. The point is, I'm excited about XRP's prospects here, but I'm also staying quite rational, right? No one should be FOMOing in because some YouTuber hit a personal goal, right? Let's say they get to the 3% of all holders, right? Always make sure that you're making decisions based on your own situation and not some random person online. Now, aside from, buying and holding XRP, I have been exploring other ways to grow my stack more passively, and I stumbled upon something really interesting. Unity nodes. Now, if you haven't heard of Unity, I don't know where you've been hiding, but anyway, it's a project that connects everyday people into a decentralized telecoms network, right? We all have smartphones after all. So in plain English, you run an app on your phone, and that helps verify and support the global telecommunications grid. And guess what? You get paid in crypto for doing it. Now, one of the crypto payout options is, you guessed it, XRP. Essentially, your phone becomes a mini node in this network. You're not mining blocks like Bitcoin or anything crazy, but you are providing connectivity and validation of things like calls and data. And as a reward, you earn a share of the fees in XRP if you choose to. You can get paid in Bitcoin, Cardano's ADA, Ethereum. There's a whole host of options. XRP is just one of many. And it's kind of like turning your spare phone, if you've got one, or even your daily runner, into an XRP vending machine that spits out a few coins here and there. Now, when I first heard about Unity nodes, I was intrigued, but I was also skeptical, as most people should be to start with. It almost sounded just too easy, so I had to do the research. You get to earn XRP with your phone whilst you sleep. Usually that's some kind of line that the scammers would use, right? But Unity is real. It is a serious project, and it is tied up with World Mobile and Minutes Network, if you know who those guys are. Now, they have a fixed number of Unity node NFTs that come with licenses for 200 devices. One node, 200 devices. Now, in fact, I ended up buying one of those Unity node NFTs myself, which granted me up to 200 licenses that I can deploy on 200 phones. Now, am I actually going to go ahead and run 200 phones? Probably not right away. My apartment's power bill would slap me in the face, right? But I am going to be setting up a small test on this desk with 10 phones that I'm going to be gathering, old smartphones off of eBay or something like that. And once the Unity app is live, I'll have those 10 phones running as Unity nodes on my desk, all connected to the Wi-Fi, quietly earning XRP for verifying network activity. Now, I'm basically creating a mini XRP farm in the corner of my room. Now, if someone walks in and sees 10 smartphones all plugged in, they might think that I've completely lost it. But hey, if those phones can each make me a little bit more XRP, then it's totally worth the rather weird looks that I'm going to get. It's also a great way to increase my XRP position more passively. Might just cover that monthly internet bill. You never know, right? Maybe more. I'll find out soon enough. And by the way, if these kind of cool projects and experiments excite you as much as they do me, then you can come out, hang out with us down in our Discord server. We've got this free educational Discord server. The link is in the description. It's where we chat about all things crypto, including XRP, cool tools like Unity, and beyond. Now, it is a pretty chill community to kind of learn and share ideas. And you'll probably hear lots of updates from me about my 10 phone setup here and how it's going. And maybe I'll scale it, 20 phones, 30 phones, 40 phones, right? We'll see. So consider this an open invitation to join our little corner of the crypto world. We'd love to have you there in for the discussions. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Unity, then check out the link to Unity down in the description. They'll give you all of the details about what it is, how it works, but also a rewards calculator for you to do some number crunching if you want to. Now, let's take a step back for a bit. What does all of this mean for the future of XRP? Well, to me, the takeaway is that XRP is quietly, but surely, breaking into new territory, right? Now, it's not just about the banking partnerships and cross-border payments, right? The usual kind of Ripple narrative. It's actually becoming part of the corporate treasuries, part of the DeFi yield strategies, even part of people's passive income setups like Unity. So that's a pretty big deal, right? It's like XRP is weaving itself into the very fabric of both high finance and grassroots use cases. Top-down and bottom-up adoption simultaneously, right? A Nasdaq-listed CEO is bullish on XRP's long-term value. And at the same time, a guy like me is running XRP, Unity nodes and earning XRP from old iPhones or Android phones, right? So let's think about that kind of how beautiful it actually sounds. It is phenomenal. So if the Vivo power bet does pay off, it could actually spark a trend of companies holding XRP as a reserve asset. It's just like some did with Bitcoin, right? We might even see an XRP supply crunch if enough big players lock away chunks of the circulating supply for long enough. I mean, we've spoken about how XRP is disappearing from the exchanges, Coinbase and all that, right? We've got the data to back it up. Now, this could create a squeeze where the demand keeps rising and the supply on exchanges just gets tighter and tighter, right? And we know what all of that could do for the price over time. Again, not financial advice, but just basic economics. When demand outstrips the supply, you get the price going up. You kind of get the picture. On the flip side, we could stay pretty realistic, right? Or maybe even just conservative. Crypto history is littered with the next kind of big thing that kind of took longer than maybe a lot of people expected, or maybe just didn't pan out. Maybe Vivo Power is the outlier, right? And the other companies won't just rush into XRP right away. Maybe the Unity node that I bought will have issues or not gain the huge kind of traction that I believe that it will. These are just possibilities, not guarantees, right? But from what I'm seeing, I think that momentum is real, and I think it's going to continue growing. XRP's ecosystem in 2025 is the strongest that it's been in years, right? Legally, technologically, and now corporately, right? Ripple, the company, has been expanding its technology, even experimenting with stablecoins like RLUSD for payments. And XRP, the asset, is increasingly being used as something useful, not just as a speculative token, right? So there's a lot going for it. All in all, I kind of feel like we're at the start of this brand new chapter for XRP, one where XRP isn't the loudest hype coin in the room, but quietly becomes the indispensable in the background of a lot of the rather interesting projects and even businesses. And those tend to be the projects that have the lasting impact. Remember, right? The internet itself kind of grew quietly in the background, then suddenly it was absolutely everywhere. Now, I'm not saying that XRP will conquer the world, but it is positioning itself to be a key piece in the broader crypto and financial puzzle. Now, if you are still watching, you right there, you're a champ, right? Because I'm guessing that you're just as fascinated by all of this as much as I am, right? So, what can we do? At least for me, I guess I'm going to be keeping this research up. I'm going to keep experimenting. I'll let you know how my phone farm goes. And of course, I'm going to keep hodling and earning as much XRP as I can responsibly, right? I'm also going to stay rather cautious. I'm going to be taking profits when it's sensible to do so. I'm going to be hedging my bets because XRP is just one of many assets that I'm invested in and all of that kind of good stuff. Enthusiasm, of course, is great, but nothing beats good, sound risk management, as boring as it is. Now, one more thing before we wrap up today. If you're looking to trade, invest, or snag up some XRP for yourself, then you've got to make sure that you're using a reliable platform. Now, I've partnered with both Blowfin and BitGet and a whole host of other exchanges. So if you do sign up and trade through those links that are in the description, it does support the channel here and it costs you nothing extra in doing so. So thank you if you do that in advance. And, it gets you access to platforms that I do personally use. Now, those are affiliate links, which means they help me out. It helps keep this channel running and doesn't cost you anything extra whatsoever. So as always, you've got to choose whatever exchange that you trust the most. I'm just sharing what works for me. All right, so that is the story for today. And what a ride, from princes investing in XRP to phone farms in my office here, all the way to the prospect of XRP's next big leap. Now, I hope that you found this as eye-opening as I did. And if you did enjoy this little adventure with me, you can do me a favor by hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss what is going to come next. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you all in the next one.